I want to talk about something that I talked about a little bit on the call with Luke, but whenever I'm going through things, I try to take them as like a learning experience, not just for me, but so I can report it back to you guys too. And so I've had like a pretty bad down period on my channels the last like month or so. Like January, well, it feels like a month, but in reality, it's only been like 2.5 weeks or something like that. But it feels like it's been an eternity because last month, January was like a record-breaking month in every single business, and then this month it's pretty down across the board, and it's really hard to. I'm normally a pretty even-keeled person, right? I'm supposed to be the YouTube coach. I'm supposed to be the person that's always, I'm always the one saying, "Oh no, it'll be fine." Like it's really whenever you're the person on the inside, it's not that easy to do. And that's what I always say to you guys. Like I know, like from my perspective, whenever you guys have a down period, I'm like, oh yeah, just keep going. It'll come back. It always does. But then I also know, I'm aware that me telling you that it's not really going to help you very much because I know what's going on inside of your brain and you think the sky is falling. And the same thing happens with every YouTuber. Um, yeah, I don't think he's on this call, but I was having this conversation with somebody whose channel has like exploded, who's inside of here, and he was messaging me the same thing. He was like, "Man, my channel's just down. I don't know what to do. Like, should I switch niches?" I'm like, "Dude, your channel just exploded. Like, just keep going." And then, a couple of days later, he had a 1 out of 10, and everything was back to normal. But I actually kind of prepared a protocol for this. So like, instead of just telling myself, "Oh, it'll come back," what I always tell you guys and what I tell myself is if the stuff has worked in the past for yourself or for other people, like inside of here, you guys have access to everything that I do and everything that a lot of people do in here to be successful. So it's worked for other people, even if it hasn't worked for you in the past. But if it has worked for you in the past, it's even better. You can reference what you've done in the past personally. So I always say just keep putting in the same inputs that have been proven to work in the past. But I kind of took it a step further and I came up with an actual protocol that I'm going to follow myself. And I think it'll help you guys too. So one thing that I remember vividly, I was in the gym one night and I just kept checking my YouTube studio and I was like, damn, dude, the numbers are down. I don't know why. Like, I feel like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm used to ups and downs, but it's been like a down period and it's coming back now, thank God. But it was like a down period that was really long in comparison to what I normally go through, right? And when I was in the gym one night and I was just like so frustrated. I was so pissed off. Like it was unreal how mad I was. And I was just like texting like my other YouTuber friends. I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, should I just sell the channel? Like, well, what should I do? And I just like had this video recommended to me by Myron Golden. If you guys don't watch Myron Golden, you definitely need to watch him because he's especially if you're a Christian. Like he basically takes Bible principles and turns them into entrepreneurship principles and like teaches you how to become a good entrepreneur with the Bible. And it's really, really good stuff. And he explained in the video, I kind of talked about it on the call with Luke already, but the first step of the protocol, whenever things are down, whenever your channels are down or your business is down, whatever, gratitude first. So like not just gratitude for material things that you have, right? Like I have cool cars and I live in a nice place and all that stuff. But I'm talking about the fact that you got to wake up this morning, People always like it sounds so cliche, it sounds so like base level, but I guarantee you didn't wake up this morning and you were like, "Thank you God, I'm so glad that I got to wake up today." Like nobody does that. And if you do it, you don't do it enough because enough would be every single day because there's people who went to sleep last night who didn't wake up today. So it doesn't matter how many issues that you have, how many things you're going through. You got to wake up today. That's step number one. You got two eyes, at least one. You're able to see this call. You have the ability to see, you have the ability to hear. Those are things to be extremely grateful for. And then another perspective shift is that there's people in the hospital who are sick right now. And like, if you're sick and like when you're sick with the flu or something, you only want one thing. You only want to feel better. You don't have any other issues. You're just like, man, I just want to feel better. And sick people feel the same way. But there's people who are sick and they're never going to get better. And all they want to do is get better. And we're worried about all these little problems. Like I'm worried about, oh, I made 100K in January and I might only make 60 in February. Like seriously, like that's really what I'm stressing about. That's what I'm freaking out about. There's people who are sick right now who are not ever going to get better. And they would love to have the problems that I'm having right now. And the same thing goes for you guys, whether you're making, 100K a month or you're making $100 a month. The person who's sick in the hospital would love to have that problem right now. So that was the second perspective shift that I had was just being grateful for the base level things, like being able to see, being able to hear, being able to wake up today. Because it's not, none of that stuff's guaranteed. Another thing is, I talked about it before, but it's very important to not, I call it white knuckling, where you're trying to like hold, like you're trying to squeeze so tight because you're so frustrated. You just like, you're trying to make every single title super perfect and the best title ever. You're trying to make every single thumbnail the best thumbnail ever because you think that's going to be the thing that gets you back on track, or that's going to be the thing that makes your channel blow up. And I'm not saying don't improve those things, but I don't think you should improve them when your channel is down, actually. I think you should focus on improving them when your channel is up. I'm gonna talk about that more in a second, but avoid white knuckling. Avoid trying to hold on to it so tight. You need to do your absolute best to live in abundance at all times. And it's really hard whenever your channels are down and there is no abundance, but you need to try your absolute best to act as if everything's abundant. The views are abundant, the money coming in is abundant, everything. Because if you start getting into that scarcity mindset, you're just going to make mistakes and your videos start to come across as desperate. Instead of it being, hey, here's a cool video I made, check it out if you want to, it becomes like, please click my video, please, please, please. If you don't click, I'm not going to be able to pay rent this month. And nobody wants to click on a video like that. So here's the actual official protocol. So when a channel is down, you should do different. If you want to change something, do something different, not something that's better. Don't try to improve it. Don't try to make it absolutely perfect. You can switch it up and do a little change of pace. I talk about banner blindness quite a bit inside of the course. And what I mean by different is a lot of us, especially if you're someone who posts daily or, multiple times a week, if you're posting on the same or similar subjects over and over again and your thumbnails are similar, eventually people are just going to start to think, oh, I already watched this video. And that's going to happen sometimes. And even if they don't think that, they still just become blind to it. Your cool thumbnails that worked at first, your cool titles that worked at first, they now become blind. They're now banner blind to it. And what banner blindness is there's a lot of studies done, and there's actually websites you can use to track your own websites and stuff on this, where there's certain, because people's eyes have been trained so hard by ads, like advertisements on websites, they're always placed in the same or similar spots. So now when humans click on a website, their eyes won't even go to certain parts of the screen because they're hardwired to think there's going to be an ad there. So I kind of just use that as a way to describe people what normally would be a pattern interrupt for them, or what was before a pattern interrupt for them with your YouTube thumbnails that were new and they're cool and nobody did them before. They're no longer a pattern interrupt because their eyes have just been trained to not, or their eyes have been trained to see them so many times. Does that make sense? Can somebody give me a thumbs up? Am I explaining that properly? Okay, cool. So once people start to become banner blind to your thumbnails, it's not going to be this conscious thing where they're going to see it and they're going to be like, oh, I've seen that already, so I'm not going to click on it anymore. It's just this subconscious thing where their eyes aren't even attracted to those thumbnails anymore. So that's why I'm saying you should maybe do something different. So change up the thumbnail template, change up the background color, do things different, but don't sit there and think, how can I make this thumbnail absolutely perfect? Just switch it up. Try to make it as an adjacent of a move as you possibly can. So like, don't go from where you're thinking like down here to up here. Try to go like from over here to right here, like an adjacent move to where it's not, you don't think you're making a huge improvement, but it's just different. It's just a pattern interrupt. That's it. Okay. So when the channel is down, do different. And then when the channel is up, that's when you should push your foot on the gas and do better. That's where, like, because what people make the mistake of, and I think what I made the mistake of, I was focusing on so many other things other than my YouTube channel, and I just kind of put it in cruise control, and I was just like, I'm just gonna like I'm making so much money, like I don't even have to try anymore. Like that's genuinely how I was feeling subconsciously, and I talk about it all the time, and it's 100% true. There's no such thing as cruise control. There's no such thing as coasting in entrepreneurship or business. You're either aggressively moving forward or aggressively moving backward. And I just aggressively moved backward for like a month and a half. So like it's the best time to make improvements and put your foot on the gas is when things are going really well. And it's a good protocol to have because whenever things are going well, a lot of us want to take our foot off the gas and relax a little bit. You get to not be stressed for a little while. So you want to kick your feet up and just chill and let the money roll in. That's when you're going to put your foot on the gas the most. And if you've ever been in sales, you know that the absolute best time to make an offer to a prospect or just make an offer available in your marketing or whatever is right after you made a sale, because you're in that state of abundance. You're in that state of, I don't need this money. I don't need to make another sale. And that's always when you're going to make your best pitch. That's always when you're going to be your best, you're at your best in sales. Same thing goes with YouTube. The absolute best time to make improvements to your channel is going to be when your channel is doing really well, because you're going to have a lot clearer of a mind. It's not going to be coming from scarcity, the improvements that you're making. It's going to be coming from abundance, and it's genuine improvements. So whenever channels are down, do different, switch things up, get rid of that banner blindness from your audience that have seen the same type of thumbnails over and over again. So now their eyes are not really gravitating towards them anymore. But don't try to improve massively. Just make adjacent moves different. And then when channels are up, that's when you put your foot on the gas. You floor the gas, and that's when you want to make improvements. Because like I said, the best time to make pitches, best time to make, put new marketing out there, it's right after you made a sale because you're in that state of abundance. So hopefully that made sense. If anybody has any questions about that, you can go ahead and ask. Go ahead, AJ. You have a question? And it's something I was telling John too. I don't think he's on here, but he was the guy that I was talking about where his channel was going crazy. He had a bit of a down period. He was like, I don't know if I should switch niches or what. I was like, you're crazy, but I know how it feels on the inside. Looking out, it doesn't feel like you're crazy at all. It feels like this guy is genuinely falling. And I was telling him, he was like, what if the views don't come back? I was like, just keep putting the same inputs in and it'll come back. He's like, what if they don't? I was like, well, there's only one way to find out. If you quit, you're never going to know if they would have came back or not. So you might as well just keep posting. And it's always going to come back. If it's been proven to work in the past, it is always going to come back. But no matter how many times I tell you that, whenever you're on the inside, I don't even believe it all the time, whenever my views are down. So how can I expect you to believe it? It's never fun. Like it's tough, dude. Like I would never say that YouTube is easy on your mind. It's not. It's difficult mentally sometimes. But then when the good times come, it's amazing. But we can get to Q&A now. Any questions you guys got, just go ahead and raise your hand, or you could just speak up.